What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here with an introduction to parabolas in our conic sections unit. So you've seen parabolas before, or quadratic functions, but these are a little bit different, okay? So we've got two very similar looking equations here, but there's a key difference. One of them opens up and down, the other left or right. What? Crazy. All right, so let's take a look at these things here. So I have x minus h quantity squared in this one, and I have y minus k quantity squared in the other one. And then over here, I've got the other y minus k, and I've got my x minus h. But then we also have this variable p. So let's dissect these two things, okay? But first, let's go back to quadratics as you know them, okay? If I had something like y equals x squared, that'd be a quadratic, a parabola that would open up. And if I had y equals negative x squared, it would just be opening down. And again, our vertex here would be at the origin for each one of those, right? No shift up, down, or anything. It's our parent function for quadratics. Well, which one of these two here has the x squared? It's this first one, x minus h quantity squared. This guy right here is going to be either opening up or opening down, and it's dictated by this plus or minus right here. All right, sound good? Wonderful. Any questions? Excellent. Then our vertex will come from our h and our k. So let's actually write that part down first, okay? So vertex, that is just going to be h comma k. And that's going to be the case for both of these here. So vertex, h comma k. All right, consistency for that one. Now, this one here opens up or down. So let's say that. Up or down. That is based off of the plus or minus, okay? So plus or minus, maybe I'll put or right here. Or minus, respectively, right? If it's positive, it's opening up. If it's negative, it's opening down. Cool? All right, now for this one here, that's going to be left or right, okay? So left, or I guess we'll say right or left, and that's for positive or negative. Don't want to get those mixed up. Cool. So let's think about some ways we can keep that straight, right? When it's opening up or down, left or right. We made the connection to quadratics from before, but I also like to just look at this side of the equation here, the stuff that's not squared. I get a lot of information from this one. Positive or negative tells me if it's opening up or down, left or right. And this y here, so I'm going to see the y here, the non-squared part. Y, I know I'm opening up or down because it goes with like the y-axis. Positive, it's opening up. Negative, it's opening down. Look over at this one here where I've got my x minus h, right? So it's x, I'm thinking left or right. If it's positive, it's opening to the right. If it's negative, it's opening to the left. Cool, so that's one way to remember it. Others just relate it back to quadratics and think about the thing that was squared. Pick your poison, right? Whichever one works for you to remember if it opens up or down, left or right, your call, okay? So now what about this like point P here, right? What is this P? I've never seen this variable before. So P is my distance to the directrix and the focus, okay? And you're like, wait, what in the heck is that? Okay, so let's write that down first, and then we're going to graph some things and make some sense of all this, okay? So P is distance to directrix and focus. All right, and that goes for this one as well, okay? So P is distance. So let's just do a quick basic example here and put some numbers to this thing. Because I think you can talk about the variables all you want, but until you get some numbers, it doesn't really make a ton of sense. So I'm just going to go with, how about x squared equals, let's go with 8y. So how do I work with that? Well, if it's x squared, I know it's opening either up or down, right? Or the y is the unsquared part opening up or down. Okay, what's my vertex going to be? So vertex here is just going to be at 0, 0. There's no numbers added or subtracted. I'll do one where we have some numbers in it as well to, continue on here for the second example. So my vertex is 0, 0. Boom, pop a point right there on the graph. Now, the other part was our focus and our directrix, okay? Well, which way am I opening with this? Am I opening up or am I opening down? I'm opening up for this one because it's positive. So I'm just going to draw that in right now, just a parabola opening up here. Now, with your quadratics unit, we usually pick some numbers to the left and to the right to the table, not so much with conic sections. So now what I need to do here is figure out where my focus is and where my directrix is, because those are two things that are required to be graphed when you're in your conic sections unit. So 8 here. This is for P. So what's my P value? Now, for this one, you might be able to tell it's 2. But if you'd like, you can always do a little side math here, a little side math. and I'll do that with the orange so it matches our P thing here. We have 8 equals 4P. And I would divide by 4, and I get P equals 2. So that tells me I am 2 units away from the vertex. So 1, 2, that's my focus. And then down 1, 2, this is my directrix, which is actually just a dashed line is what we're going to have there, okay? They have some other significances. I don't know if that's plural, right? I'm not going to get into that right now, but we will label these here. This is going to be y equals -2. So these are all questions we could ask you on your test. My focus coordinates are, let's see here, 0, 2. There we go. We've got ourselves our first conic section parabola graphed here with our graph, the way that it opens, our directrix, and our focus. Cool? So those are the 3 things that you need when you're graphing a parabola in your conic sections unit. A little different than your traditional quadratics unit. Okay? So let's pop over here now. Let's do another example. I'm going to add a little more to it this time, so it's a little more complicated than this one, so we get some other pieces to the puzzle. So let's go with this. Let's say we got y plus 1 squared equals negative, let's go with 12, and then we'll say x minus 2. Cool. All right. So the first thing I do when I look at this is I figure out, is it opening up, down, left, right? Well, because my x is the non-squared piece here, I'm thinking left, right. Or if you like to look at the squared part, you got to think opposite. Okay, so try not to get mixed up. I'm going to go with, I look at the non-squared part, that tells me I'm opening left or right. That makes sense to me. And these are my videos. All right. So now the next thing is it opening left or is it opening right? Now that I've decided that it's opening left or right. Well, it's negative, so it's opening to the left here. All right, so now I want to find my vertex, okay? Let's find our vertex, which is h comma k, so it's going to be this guy here, right? And since h, see how it's x minus h, we got to swap the sign. That's something that you should be used to with some of your other, formulas you've had in the past. So we got 2 comma and then -1 for y. So let's plot that. We got 1, 2, -1. Here's my vertex, and it was opening to the left. So I'll go ahead and plot that. Okay. Now it is opening, wider or less, whatever. We're usually not too worried about that, exactly how wide you make it. It's more so the focus and the directrix that need to be a part of it as well. But each teacher has their own expectations, so make sure you check with them as well if I'm not your teacher. All right. So now I need to get my focus and my directrix. So that means that I need to figure out what my P value is. So I'm just going to take this 12 here and set it equal to 4P. I'm not really too concerned with the negative in this particular situation because I've already addressed the negative, right? The negative told me I'm opening to the left. I don't need to worry about that anymore. So now I'm going to solve for P. I'll divide by 4, and I get P equals 3, which means I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 units. That is my focus, which is at, let's see here, -1, -1. And then also my directrix here, we got to go 1, 2, 3, and it's a dashed line. And I will go ahead and label it as well. X equals, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, positive 5. Excellent. There we go, guys. 2 parabolas graphed in our conic sections style here. They will ask you different questions. They'll say, what's the focus? What's the directrix? What's the vertex? All those little multiple choice type questions that can be asked in a situation like this. They may even give you a focus and a directrix and ask you to graph it, write the equation, all that stuff. So a lot of different questions we can ask you in this unit, but this is a basic introduction here. Make sure you know those formulas there unless they're giving them to you. All right, and these key pieces as well. Thanks for watching, you guys, and have a wonderful day.